Okay, what would happen if you had 8 extra hours in your week? What would you do with it? If you listen to the end of this episode, I will show you how to create 8 extra hours in your week. So this is Making More Time, Michele, and you're listening to episode number 33. Welcome to the I Cut the Mustard show, where you'll learn how to stop stressing, stop stress eating, and start fitting into those skinny jeans. Because whether it's belly fat or bloating, stress stinks. But don't worry, you've got what it takes. You're sharp enough. You cut the mustard. Hey there, I definitely have access to a time machine, so that's how we're going to do this. End of episode. I'm just kidding. But for real, I was reading this book one time where they were talking about time and how like you can create time and not just like move stuff around in your schedule and create time. Like you are the master of time. Like Einstein was showing us in his calculations that time is relative. And they were talking about how, sometimes time feels like it drags on forever because you're like excited about something, or you're waiting for something to come in the mail, or maybe you're like stuck somewhere that you really don't want to be. So it feels like it's dragging on and on and on. You don't want to be there. And then there's other times like when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. So his argument was that you can control time with like your attitude, which is really cool and kind of fun to think about. But that's also not what we're going to do today on the podcast, but I thought I'd throw it out there. So in addition to the tips that I'm going to teach you today, you're going to also think about just how you create time yourself and like that whole metaphysical thing that I just talked about it. But a lot of people have asked me in the past, how do you get so much done, right? I've got 3 kids. I spend lots of time with them. I started a business. I'm doing a podcast every day. I'm writing emails every day. And then I'm meeting with my clients. Like, how do you get all this stuff done? So I've got 3 simple things that I do in my schedule every week that helps me create the time that I need for the things that are most important to me. So I'm going to share those 3 with you right now. You don't even have to wait long. So number 1 is that I simplify, right? Yesterday, I just talked about with food. What I do is I just make it simple. I'm not going to make it this huge gourmet thing. I'm just going to make something super easy for breakfast, like oatmeal with raisins and cinnamon on top, right? I just don't overcomplicate things. I look for ways to keep them really simple and also to simplify my life and my house. I'm more of a minimalist, and we talked in episode number 27 about the power of decluttering and how that can just free you up for more things. So I think minimalism is so cool. So I just try to simplify things as much as I can. That's number 1. Then number 2, I plan ahead. So I write everything down and I put everything on my calendar. I plan ahead. And then that way I know what's coming. I know when it's happening, and I can keep my brain space for other things. So I plan ahead. So I simplify, I plan ahead. And the last thing I do is batch things. So by simplifying and planning ahead, I see the huge list of things that I need to do, and then I batch it. So instead of doing laundry every single day, whenever I just see it laying around, I only have 1 or 2 days a week that I do laundry. Instead of doing dishes all day long, I just do them once a day, right? Or if I have a bunch of bills to pay, I just save them all and I do them once a month, whatever, right? I take things and I smush them together and I batch them. If I'm going into town and I know I need to take back the library books, I need to go to the post office, I need to go to the grocery store, whatever, I just put all of that on one day. So then I drive in, I do all my chores on one day when possible, right? So I don't have to go back and forth. And it saves lots of time that way. So just to give you a taste of how these 3 methods work to save you exactly 8 hours in your week, I want to apply it to food, to cooking, right? We spend so much time eating because we're people and we need food to maintain ourselves, right? So even just like sitting down and eating our meals every day, actually, a lot of us eat so fast, it's probably like 10 minutes each meal, right? But then you're snacking all the time, right? So there's just like, we just spend a lot of time thinking about food, getting food ready, preparing, going to the grocery store, all of that kind of stuff. So I just want to break it down for you because I think you don't even know how much time you're spending on food right? So I'm just going to break it down, right? Let's say that you're one of those people that maybe you buy frozen meals at the store. Maybe you want to make stuff from scratch because you want to be plant-based or you want to eat healthy and you know that making fresh fruits and vegetables is the best thing for you, but you're into like quick and easy meals. Okay, let's say that. So you don't want to spend more than 20 or 30 minutes getting your food ready, your lunch and your dinner. Okay, so let's say that's you. You just make quick and easy meals, 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and every single day for lunch and dinner, and we're going to say 10 minutes for breakfast. Then that's taking you 5 hours a week just to meal prep your stuff, right? You're getting all your stuff ready and you're doing those 20 to 30 minute meals. You're spending 10 minutes on breakfast. That's 5 hours during your week you're spending getting ready. Then you've got to clean that stuff up every day, right? So every day, whenever you got ready to do those quick and easy meals, you got stuff out, right? You got out the cutting board, you got out the bowls, you got out the plates, you got out the saute pan, you did all kinds of stuff, dancing in the kitchen, doing your thing, right? So you have to clean that all up. So it takes you about 15 minutes to clean up every time, right? So that's about 4 hours of cleanup time that you're doing every time you take stuff out and every time you put stuff every time you eat, right? And then let's say some days you just want to go eat out, right? Because you don't want to, you're a quick and easy meal kind of person. A lot of us eat out because we're just tired of cooking that day, or you just don't feel like you have time, you're running around with kids or whatever it is. So if you go eat out, I'm going to add 2 extra hours onto your week because it's going to take you 20 or 30 minutes to decide what you want to eat. We included that in our daily prep time, 20 or 30 minutes to decide, well, where do we want to eat? What do we want to eat? Make the phone call to go get it, right? And then you've got to wait for them to come give it to you, which is like 45 minutes, or you've got to drive to the store and get it, which is an extra 20 minutes. So I'm just going to add an extra 2 hours for eating out onto that list, all right? Then you've got all of the time that you spend deciding. So most of us don't sit down and write everything that we're ever going to make during the week, right? We think of it that day. We just go to the store, we buy what looks good and what we usually eat, and then dinner time's ready to roll around or lunchtime comes around and we spend 10 minutes thinking, oh man, okay, stressing out. What should I do? What should I make? I guess we'll just make quesadillas again. So that you get that stuff out. You can do your 20-minute prep, right? Or it's dinner time and it's 5 o'clock, you're freaking out. You should have made dinner by now and we've got to decide what to eat. So you're rummaging through the refrigerator, trying to figure it out, pulling stuff out, maybe looking through some recipe books, right? That stuff is taking so much time. And on top of that, it's so stressful to just you're just stressing about that a lot, way more than you even think you are, right? So deciding, that's going to add another 2.5 hours to your week. Then, of course, you've got to go shopping for all of this. And let's say that it takes you 10 minutes to get to the store. It takes you 40 minutes if you're super fast to get all of your food that you need for that day. And then you bring it home. So most of us don't. Well, maybe now we do with COVID, right? Maybe that's one trip to the store is maybe 1 hour, and then you've got to take it all out and you put it in your refrigerator and all of that jazz. So that's taking you probably about an hour every single time you go to the grocery store. So depending on who you are, you can just mentally think, how many times do I go to the grocery store every week, and just add on an hour for every single time, right? So I just put 2.5, like let's say that you go to the grocery store 2.5 times during the week because that's average. So I added all that up, and that is 16 hours that you're spending doing your daily 20 to 30 minute quick and easy meals, cleaning up after yourself, through all of that, eating out, going and calling it up and going to pick it up or whatever it is that you're doing, deciding what to eat, worrying about it for lunch and for dinner, rummaging through those cupboards, and shopping is at least 16 hours. So that's for quick and easy meals and just like a general rundown. But let's say that you actually spend more time. Let's say you actually spend more of like a gourmet meal prep where you spend maybe an hour or so on your dinner because you want it to be family style or whatever. Then you're going to see that number go up. Or if you go shopping way more, right? So it's going to be somewhere between 16 and 20 hours a week that you're making food. So I just want to give a shout out to the moms here, because I feel like sometimes your husband comes home and you're like, I don't know what I did all day, but man, am I tired, right? This is why you've got a part-time job feeding children, not to mention cleaning up after them and all of that stuff. But we all have part-time jobs feeding ourselves and our families. So this is a big deal. It takes a lot of our time. Okay, but let's say instead of that normal trap, right, that we fall into, we decide that instead we're just going to use these three things. We're going to simplify, we're going to plan ahead, and we're going to batch cook everything, right? So if you simplify, plan ahead, and batch cook, what would that make your week look like? Simplifying is what I talked about yesterday. You just pick one or two things for breakfast. Maybe you eat cereal, Cheerios with non-dairy milk or every morning, or you eat oatmeal every morning, or maybe you make a green smoothie. You've just got one or two quick things that you make every morning. That's super simple. Then I like to eat, like I said yesterday, salads and some sort of salad or wrap for lunch, and some sort of soup or saute thing for dinner. So what I do is I create something that's more like a mix and match type of thing, where I have grain bowls, I have potatoes and things like that I can just kind of mix and match it all together and keep it simple, but I can have a variety going on, right? Or I have kind of a base meal that I do, like those rice bowls, and I can make them Mexican style, I can make them Indian style, and I can change up the seasonings so they're different and give me variety, but I don't have to spend a lot of extra time doing it. Okay, so that's the power of keeping it simple, that you can do those quick and easy meals just like you've been doing, right? But maybe that's just going to save you a little bit of daily prep time, right? And then planning ahead is I sit down, I spend 15 minutes, I sit down and I plan out those simple meals, right? I know that I'm going to have a salad every day for lunch. I know I'm going to have some sort of hot dinner every day for dinner. So then I'll just pick out 4-ish of those for my family size. I just pick out a couple of each of those that I can mix and match. And then I write them on the list and I go get the stuff at the store. So I have like a 15-minute plan ahead session, right? But what does that 15-minute plan ahead session do for you? Let me tell you, right? If you sit down, you plan it out, you write the whole list down, you go to the grocery store one time a week, that's only an hour, right? That's dropped that down from 2.5 hours or more to like 1 hour, because I spent one trip to the store and I got everything that I needed for the whole week. That cuts down on your deciding time. So now every single day, whenever it's lunchtime or dinner time, you're not spending 10 or 15 minutes rummaging around, freaking out, stressing out about what you're going to make tonight. Right? So we chopped that down, and maybe you're spending only, like I said, that 15 minutes to decide, and then maybe 5 minutes every time looking at your list and saying, okay, what am I going to get? Right? So we've already chopped down 3 hours out of our week just by planning ahead and simplifying like that. So that's 3 hours so far, right? And because you've planned ahead, you don't need to eat out as often, right? Or if you still choose to eat out, that's your thing, right? But maybe you plan that ahead too during your 15-minute session, and then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to decide. You know exactly what you want and what you're going to get. So that is saving you 5 hours right there. So far, I've already saved you 5 hours just by planning ahead and simplifying the things that you do. So the last thing that I do is batch, right? I batch cook. So the beauty of that is that it goes in with everything that we already talked about. I know what I have ahead of time, right? I know exactly what I'm going to eat. It mixes and matches. It's really simple. So I go to the grocery store one day. The next day, I take 2 hours and I sit down and I cut everything up. I make tons of salads. I make tons of soups. And then I'll spend usually another day or 1 hour another day during the week, maybe 3 days from that time, where I do a mini chopping session as well. But I batch it between those 2 sessions. So 2 to 3 hours tops, cutting everything up, throwing it all together. And the beauty of batching is kind of like going to the grocery store. I didn't have to go back to the grocery store for every one little thing, right? It's so repetitive. I'm eliminating those repetitive tasks. So I can go and I sit down and I get my cutting board out one time. I get all the food out one time. I wash it all one time, right? And then I clean it all up at one time. So I've got everything in the refrigerator. It's ready to go. It's all set in there. All I have to do is open it up, dish it out, warm it up. Okay? Because I've spent that time planning. I spent that time preparing it. And now it's just all in the refrigerator, ready to go. And it's mix and matchable. So it's great for picky eaters. So if my husband doesn't want to have beans tonight, then he won't put beans on his. Or maybe my picky kids don't feel like eating the dinner that I made. Well, there's 10 dinners in there, right? So I can just dish them out whatever. I don't care. It's all healthy. So they get to choose, which is totally fun and empowering for them. I'm not making tons of meals all the time. We still get our family style dinner. It is a win, win, win. So whenever you batch it, that's going to save you that additional 3 hours, right? So your daily prepping, so it's 2 hours. And then actually I put 4 hours down, right? So 2 hours for that daily prep session. Maybe it's a couple minutes getting stuff out and getting it ready to warm it up every time. So it works out to be about 4 hours a week. And then cleaning up, I'm cutting my cleanup time in half because I got all the pots and pans out and everything one time. I wash them all one time, which doesn't take that long. And then the rest of the time, I'm just throwing my daily dishes into the dishwasher or I'm washing them up real quick. So it's going to take half of the time to clean up, right? How does that sound? Okay. So if you add that all up, it works out to be about 8 hours, right? There's going to be some fluctuation depending on you and how your style is, right? But looking at this model, I was spending between 16 and 20 hours, just like a part-time job, getting stuff ready, worrying about it, going to the grocery store every other day for something that I forgot, deciding on what to eat, eating out, thinking that that was actually going to save me time, but it doesn't really, all right? And instead of doing all that madness, I can just sit down, I can simplify things, I can plan ahead, and I can batch them so that it only takes me about 8 hours a week. This is fabulous news for you. And the cool thing is that I put this into my messy kitchen course, my Make Everything Super Simple course, because I'm yelling it at you right now into my microphone about how you can do these things. It's so cool. It's amazing. And I keep telling you over and over, but I know that it takes time to kind of learn it. And it's better if you can just like see someone, right? If I could just come to your kitchen and we could cook together and I could show you what I do, then I would come and do that. And in fact, I did that with my family. And that's why I came up with this course. About 3 years ago, we had like a little girls trip and I decided I'm going to be in charge of the food because I like to. And I said, don't worry about it. It's okay that grandma is picky. Well, I'll just make the menu. Everybody will love it. We'll just batch everything. It'll be great. So whenever we got there, we all went to the grocery store. We filled up our cart. We came back, and in just a couple hours, I washed everything, chopped everything up, made a bunch of salads. We mixed and matched the whole week. Like I said, my grandma's kind of picky, but we had noodles for her. She put the pieces on it that she actually likes to eat. She was happy. I was happy. Everybody was happy, and their eyes were like frog eyes. They were so big. What? How did you just do this? You've got to show us. You've got to make a course. This is amazing. So I did make a course. And if you want to check it out, it's at icutthemustard.com/messy kitchen. I'll put the link down below, but it is so you get the course and everything. I can roll with it and tell you all the things that I get, but I try to make it as super simple as possible, something that'll pay for itself in 1 month, because the cool thing is whenever you simplify, you plan ahead, you batch cook, you're also saving money generally. Number one, you don't know how much money you're spending, just like you don't know how much time you're spending. And if you sit down and you add it up, you'll be like, whoa, I didn't even know I was spending that much money on food every month. Then, but by going to the store once a week, or maybe twice a week, if that's what you choose, then there's less impulse buys, and by eating out less, you're spending less. So you're actually going to save a lot of money very quickly by implementing these 3 things as well. I don't know, from what I've heard from people who've taken the course, it isn't as dramatic as cutting your time in half, like with the time thing, but they are just so happy with the results that they've been getting. So I put this course together. It's got saving you time, it's saving you money, it's helping you stress less, which is what we're all about here. And I've added a bunch of bonuses, so you can go to that website and check out what the bonuses are, to just try to help it make it a no-brainer for you. But it pays for itself in less than a month, and I'm giving you some troubleshooting guides and some extra things in there as well as a free private coaching session for you, for any, so that I can be there in your kitchen if you're having trouble. So go to icutthemustard.com/messy kitchen to get all the details on that. But I really hope that it helps you and saves you 8 hours. Go save 8 hours in your week. What can you do with that? All right. So again, check it out at icutthemustard.com/messy kitchen. Get those bonuses. Come chat with me and have a fabulous week with way more hours in the week. Oh, and just one more quick thing about the course. I try to make it as super simple as possible, meaning I'm not going to make you watch loads and loads of videos, because you don't have time for that. You're trying to save 8 hours. So even watching those videos during that first week, it's going to take you less than 8 hours to watch the videos, and the videos walk you through the process. So by the end of watching all the videos, you've made all of your stuff for the week. So it should save you still some time this week, even though you're taking time to learn the process, and then 8 hours or so the following weeks. So it's awesome. It's going to save you 8 hours. Go grab it, and it'll pay for itself. So don't even worry about that. Pays for itself in time and pays for itself in money. You're going to love it. Go ahead and check it out today at icutthemustard.com/messy kitchen. Links down below. I think I should say that again, right? Have I said it enough during the podcast? All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Yoo-hoo! Thanks for jamming with me. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and click subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you next time for another great episode of the I Cut the Mustard Show.